RODDY CARR. I'm from a very small country, Ireland, a green country. It's only 150 miles wide by 300 miles long. And if we dropped it into Turkey, you would not find it for about a month. It's so small. But we have a lot of horses, as you may know, and we have a lot of golf courses. And I was born into the golf family. Played golf all my life and spent 10 years of my life trying to be a professional golfer until I owed the bank manager £10,000 and I had to go to work. I was lucky that I met Mark McCormack from IMG, the largest sports marketing group in the world, and I went to work and got trained by him. And he said once that sport became global when jet travel arrived. And really, tourism became global with jet travel. So I'm going to speak to you today a little bit about sports tourism, and in particular, golf tourism, which is becoming more and more important, and was mentioned by every single speaker yesterday mentioned golf tourism, which I found quite interesting in listening. Legardère is the company I work for. Many people have not heard about it, but it's the largest sports marketing and media company in the world, based out of Paris. We have offices all over the world, 22,000, we have 7 billion a year revenue. You will recognize some of our clients here. We have the #1 golfer in the world, Jordan Spieth, Caroline Wozniacki. We have Phil Mickelson. We would represent hundreds of athletes. We run about 300 or 400 events every year all over the world. So that's our business, the business of sport. We were talking about equestrian. The sports tourism business is a huge segment. It's a very important segment because the recent studies up to 2030 show that sports tourism will grow about 3 times faster than the regular tourism. And it's fitting with all of the new trends that are coming in new tourism, which are becoming more and more experiential. You see the a la carte holiday. People want a la carte. They want to go a place and they want to do things. They want a passive. They don't want passive. We did a study in Vienna several years ago where they were worried because they were getting killed by their competition in Istanbul and Barcelona and Dublin, where people were going to do things. They were no longer happy to sit in coffee shops and sit and watch the world go by. They wanted to experience things. So these are the trends that are coming. No longer is the sun and sea enough. They want to do things. They want to meet the people. You have a lot of countries that are investing heavily into new facilities to provide these, including obviously Dubai, Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, and then what Turkey has done in Antalya is fantastic. The golf tourism business also is a much bigger business than people realize, much bigger. Everybody wonders why there are so many destinations looking to build it. It's because there are 56 million golfers in the world. That's a lot of golfers. It's a lot of ABC1 category people with money and time. The demographics fit the baby boomers. They fit people who have money and time to travel. Global tourism is $17 billion. That's a lot of money from people. Of that 56 million people, you have the avid golfer, which is about 10% of them, 5.6 million people who will play golf at least once a month. They will travel a minimum of once a year. And they will go, 5 or 10% of them will travel overseas. So we know this, and we know where they are, we know who they are. For the United States, the whole of the golf business is worth $60 billion to the economy. Last week there was a show in Florida which demonstrated the breadth of that industry to America. Why is it such an important niche? Because it gives the money. It's a high-yield niche. We heard yesterday about Turkey saying the one thing that they wanted to achieve was to achieve a higher per-person spend. They get that from sports tourism because people have money, they have time, and in this case they spend twice as much. In some destinations, depending on where it is, they'll spend 4 times and 8 times more than the average, say, backpacker. So they're highly sought after because you don't need to build all of the infrastructure for numbers. You're going for a lower number with a higher profit margin. In Europe alone, it's a $1.6 billion business. Most of the people come from the United States, UK, Japan, Canada, and Australia. From Turkey's point of view, it's also interesting the emerging markets are on the other side. And if you look at the breakdown of the original slide, there'd be 14 or 15 million golfers on the east, and there'll be another, the rest of them are on the west. So you're perfectly positioned to capitalize on that. Why is it so sought after? The main reason is golf tourism works on the shoulder seasons. I work a lot. I've worked in the destinations. I've written the golf tourism strategies for Spain, for Ireland, for Caribbean, in Bermuda. They have problems when the high season is over, a bit like Antalya. So when you get to 2 or 3 months a year where you're going like this is the business that comes in. That's why it's so important, and you're getting the yield from it. September is the busiest month in UK and Ireland, where the weather is where it's past its best. And then again, ideal for people who have time to travel at that time of the year. Golf also delivers more in a bigger sense to, you take a place like Florida. It does its rooms and its green fees, the revenue. It sells villas, it rents villas, it sells real estate. You fly over Florida, as I did recently. Every 100 miles there's another big golf development. Why? It sells real estate. And it was interesting listening yesterday to one of the speakers talking about the plans that are coming up for bringing the real estate with the passports, which again is something they're trying in Caribbean. It works well with golf integrated real estate resorts. And then you have the MICE sector, which is meetings and incentives. Again, a direct bullseye hit for this particular niche. All of the top executives, a lot of them are in that 56 million golfers. The distribution is very simple in golf. This is the key to most things in business. 50-50 almost. Tour operators and direct. So you know where to go. They're very easy to get at, these people. First stop is the tour operators. The one-stop shop here. One organization 19 years ago, International Association of Golf Tour Operators. They've been in business for 19 years. I was on the original steering committee to set up this business, and it's done by a private individual, Peter Walton, who's been all over the world. 600 tour operators do nothing but sell golf tourism. That's all they do. So they know their market, they know where they are, they know how to get at them. That's what they do well, and they know that they deliver. There's 2,500 members all over the world. That would be resorts, hotels, all different types of golf facilities. There'll be 2,500 of those. And 1.9 million travelers is the result of these operators. They've showed 4 consecutive years of growth, this particular group, which is, again, in a very difficult time with the recession. So this is a very effective way. The golfer is more recession-proof than most other segments because he has more money and he's at the top end. So they're more likely, they're quicker to come back, and they're less affected. They're better educated. So even from a terrorism point of view, they're not as intimidated as they would be if they're not educated. The other side of the distribution is a very interesting development. It is the direct, which of course is where everything is going, or they think everything is going. This is quite a fascinating model. It will become the Google of tea times going forward. It's an American-based initiative which has had astounding success in its first 3 to 4 years. 8,000 golf courses, 14 million rounds of golf, and $372 million worth of revenue from just tea times. So this is just the beginning for them. It is, of course, owned by NBC, and here's how it works. Leverage. Like most things in business, it's leveraged. You have NBC, the network TV broadcaster who own the Golf Channel, who have 120 million viewers watching every week avidly, so it's very easy for them to communicate. On the back of that, they have put in they go to the golf clubs or the resorts and they say, we give you the technology, give it to you. And all we want in return is some free tea times. So you give us a couple of tea times, 8 people a day, we give you all this and we'll bring you business. It's a no-brainer. So they walk in and yes is the answer. We put this deal together for Bermuda, a tiny little island, 60,000 people. It brought in $300,000 worth of free business that would never have got there. Because people in America now know I can go to golf now to book a tea time. And tea times, as you'll see later in the presentation, rule. There's been a proliferation of golf destinations. I only mentioned a half a dozen here, but you can go to Hawaii, to Florida, you have Jakarta, you've got China, you've got Mission Hills, 12 golf courses, you have Turkey, you have Ireland, you have Scotland. The big winners of all these in Europe are these 3. Scotland, 600 million annually, pure golf tourism. And remember, it's happening in the shoulder seasons, not happening in May, June, July, August, where the people are coming to visit with their families and the kids. It's happening in the early part and the late part of the season, so it's extremely profitable. Spain has been at it for years. It's got, the industry's worth 340 million there. So you're getting some idea of the payback. How did these people get there? They planned it. I wrote this golf tourism strategy for Spain back in the 90s. They said, we want to be the Florida of Europe for golf. I said, fine. He said, we're going to sell Spain, sun, and golf. That's it, 3 words. Hit it. And I said, well, the only way to hit that is television, television, and more television. So we put together a program for 50 international golf tournaments, which we broadcast over the world to billions of viewers to see sun, Spain, golf. Very simple. Ireland, same mission. I wrote the strategy for them. How do we get here? Scotland had the positioning because they have the British Open and they have every second year. So they're the biggest event in the world of golf going there, so everybody knows about Scotland. It's the home of golf. Ireland said to me, how are we going to increase our positioning against Scotland? We have to get up there. Our product is the same, but nobody knows about us. What are we going to do? I said, you have to hit it. You hit it with television. You show the people that we have the product. So Ireland put together, we put on 30 events. It was planned over a 6-year period. The total investment was 50 million. 30 million of that was from the private sector, 20 by the government. The mission was achieved. By 2006, we had equaled the positioning of Scotland, and we actually beat Scotland now because people have more fun in Ireland, because we laugh and we have a few drinks and they have a better time afterwards. That's why you have in a logo I will show you, it's time to play, and that was part of the whole strategy. You can play before golf, and you can play during golf, and you can play after golf. In the Scotland, you could see the economic impact of one event, 183 million from a British Open hit. Not only the media impact for that is enormous. It's hundreds and hundreds of millions of free advertising for Scotland. And the Ryder Cup last year, which is the biggest team event between Europe and America, generated £106 million. And that's a topic that's obviously we'll discuss later for Turkey. Turkey, out of nowhere, Turkey has become a major player in the golf tourism business. And in my 30 years in the business, I've never seen a better approach anywhere in the world as to what they did. Somebody sat down 20 years ago and decided, we're going to create, a bespoke golf destination. How do we go about do that? So they, as you heard this morning, they went around the world. They looked at what happened in the south of Spain. They looked what happened in Portugal. They looked what happened in Florida. They looked what they got wrong in these places. They looked how they got it wrong, and they looked at where the gap in the market was. They looked at what happened in Cancun in Mexico, where nobody had a coordinated approach. You had approaches by developers, you had approaches by hotels, and you had approaches by golf designers. But nobody had got them all together and said, this is how it works long term. Turkey got this right. They went down and they took a strip of land down in Antalya, which was full of pine trees. 30 miles long, nothing there, no business, no tourists. They built 16 golf courses all in a row, bang. All brand name golf courses, built specifically for the exact market that they were after, which was the Germans, the Swedes, the UK people, and now in the future coming from further afield. They built product that people like. They put 5-star hotels beside them. 5-star. 5-star golf, 5-star hotels. And they made it all-inclusive. All-inclusive doesn't exist in golf. You go to Spain, it's $100 for the green fee, it's $20 for the food, it's another $20 for this, it's $40 for your caddy. You know, but here you can go to Turkey, you can sit there, and you have the most incredible experience of all-inclusive golf, which I'll talk about. Out of the blue, Turkey is now the 4th most important operator for these tour operators who move about 80% of the business. So from nowhere, how do they do it again? Turkish Airlines, incredible model for promoting a country through their airline. Aggressive, eye-catching. They brought Tiger Woods, they put him on the bridge. The whole world saw, what's Turkey? Why is golf? What's happening there? The whole world wondered why Tiger Woods was on the bridge. They brought him to the first tournament. Within 5 years, Turkey has one of the top 10 golf tournaments in the world. People have been trying for 100 years to do that. Nobody's managed it. Turkey managed it. Part of the strategy, awareness, television, show the product, let people know. This is what it ended up like, that 25 miles of stretch. In fact, it was started by an Irishman and an Englishman. David Jones was one of the first people to come down to Antalya. And I spoke with him and his friend, and they told me there was nothing there. The road used to just come in and there was just a forest there. You now have 15,000 rounds played. Started in 1995, now 500,000 rounds. When are they played? April, May, June, September, October, November. That's when they want them. That's when they need the business. 130 million that's injected into there, and they spend twice as much as the average tourist. That's the key. They spend twice as much. You only need half as many people to get twice the money. So that's the key for this. It's easier to get them. What was their unique proposition? 5-star all-inclusive golf. Doesn't exist anywhere. Not in the States, not in Hawaii, not in Florida, not in Spain, not in Thailand, not in Australia. The only place you can go, check into a 5-star hotel, eat all you want, if you're Irish, drink all you want, and play golf all you want. All day, every day, and at night, because they have floodlit golf courses. Again, only 3 destinations in the world have floodlit golf courses. They also put in sun, sea, which they have, and then they put in the spa, because spa works with golf. Spa works with the female segment of golf. They like it. Works with families. They also put in a lot of activities for families. It is now simply the best 5-star golf offer in the world, and that's what they set out to do, and they've achieved that. The success factors for those people looking at trying to build golf destinations going forward, this chart on the left really shows what works and what doesn't work. You're wasting your time if you're planning to build a golf destination unless you build a minimum of 5 courses. Why? Because they won't travel there. The golfer is an addict. He loves to play golf. And he wants to play in more than one course. He doesn't want to go for the one, so he will go and he will go to a place where there's 5. If you've got 10, better. If you've got 15, better. And then you'll see the different ones. Again, 67% of the rounds in Antalya, March, April, May, October, November. 231 operators are now feeding this golf destination in Turkey alone, which is an incredible facility. The problem now is it's full. That's the problem. So tea times. So the government will now have to look at this and say, what are we going to do now? You know, we're full, and how are we going to expand this? And you can't expand golf tourism unless you have tea times. So that's going to be a problem. They're going to have to deal with it. They're going to have to deal with the 50-year period that they've given these resorts, because it isn't going to be long enough. They're going to have to look at extending that. And with new models and clusters that they may build in other parts of Turkey, they're going to have to look at maybe extending that to 99 years. This is the list of what Turkish airlines did to accomplish the awareness. It was quite incredible. They've invested over 50 million, and they have run Turkish Airlines Open, the Ladies Open, the Challenge, the BMW Cup, the sponsors there, and then the Turkish Airlines World Golf Cup. 70 events in 47 countries. So they go into all of the heart of the golfing territories, and they stage their own events, again creating the demand and the awareness. And this will pay. What's the end game for this? Ryder Cup. Biggest event in the world in golf. That's the end game here. The next one available is 26. It may not happen till 30. It may be 34. But that's the end game here, is for Turkey, when and if it gets into the European Union, and then when it actually then becomes the Ryder Cup host. The competition getting fierce, getting more and more aggressive with better quality. People are getting smarter. You have 5 courses in America with trophy golf courses, the best in the world. They're packed. They're able to charge €200, $200, $250 a round of golf because of the quality. So a lot of people are moving into the quality of that. You've got Dominican Republic there, a small island in the Caribbean, one world-class golf course which everybody knows about called the Teeth of the Dog, with 20 other golf courses to back it up. So they use that as the bait to get them there, and then they give them all the other product. Mission Hills, 12 signature golf courses, very similar to what was happened here, built to try and capture this market in a growing China market. And then you have, obviously, the trophy golf courses. I'm going to show you one now in Ireland. What is a trophy golf course? Very simply, because it's an addictive type of game for people who have money, there's a list of golf courses all over the world where they are a bucket list. This is the ones you have to play. About 98% of these were basically built 80 to 100 years ago. There's only been a dozen or so built in the last 12 years. The key now for these new destinations is you have to have the trophy card to get them there. Everybody will talk about it. It's a viral community. Everybody knows about this course. And the Old Head is one in Dublin, which I was involved in putting together, is the most spectacular golf course on earth. Not the best golf course, but it's the one with the most spectacular views. And then these other ones are the new products that are being built around nature in America. Segmentation. We have lots of bloggers here. It's very easy in golf. And we did this study many, many times for different countries. Just to show you an example, in Germany, it was a late starter to golf, so you end up with some German people, they get to the age of retiring, or 40 or 50, they can't play tennis anymore, they can't play squash, they say, what will we do? We will play golf together. So they start at 40 and they play golf for the next 25, 30 years in the retirement, and that's why you have, you know, so many, nearly half of the population of Germany have women. The kamikazes, these are the Wall Street guys. These are the City of London, the Frankfurt guys who play golf. And they go away with groups of the boys or girls, and they just want to play as much golf as they can. They don't care how much it costs, and they want to eat well and drink well and go back to work on Monday. They go for long weekends, but they spend a fortune. Trip of a lifetimers, people who decide, you know, we're going to do one trip in our life. You know, we want to go to Scotland because our roots are there, and we want to play golf, so they spend 5 or 10 years dreaming up this trip to go back to their homeland to play golf. This is the trip of a lifetimers, and these are longer. People stay for an average of 3 weeks on these trips. Explorers, perfect for Turkey. People who want to go different places, experience different things. They want to come to Turkey. They want to stop off in Istanbul and see what Istanbul is like, and then go down to Antalya and play golf. They just want to see new stuff every time, so they'll explore. Value hunters, you have them in every business. You know, the Swedes are famous in golf, and the Canadians. They want to play as much golf for as little money as possible, and they love all-inclusive because they don't have to put their hand in their pocket, and that's why Antalya is full of them. You have then the trophy hunters, a nice select group, but money doesn't matter. Private jets, helicopters, doesn't care. They'll spend 50,000 if necessary to go and just play that one course and come home the next day. That's what they want. And then you have the Together Golf, which is your German and your couples, which is a huge growing segment in continental Europe, because the game started later there in Italy, France, Germany. They're all people who play as couples more. The new trends emerging, all about experiential. Golf and, you go to, there's two types of resorts. There's golf, let's take a Barbados. Barbados for golf or Barbados and golf. It's Antalya for golf. It could be Istanbul with golf. So you're trying to feed both of those markets. Golf and gourmet, the right match for the demographics. Golf and wine, beautiful opportunities in Turkey and France and Spain for wine. Golf and opera in Italy. Go and play golf and go to the opera festival. Go to Salzburg and play golf. Growing segments everywhere. And then golf and culture. People want a cultural experience to do when they go to play golf because they're very well educated and they want to experience the local culture. And then you have a viral communities which are growing. This Executive Women's Golf Association is 20,000 women, all 100,000 plus executive women in the United States who play golf and like to travel. And they use golf for business. And this is one segment which again has one membership and it's easy to communicate with. So, how do you go about building a destination? Sustainable destination. You have to really make sure that you've done your homework. You just can't pop up a few golf courses and it'll be all right. Nowadays, it's far too competitive. Turkey has done the best job so far, but it's not perfect. They're missing a trophy golf course. That's something that has to be looked at. So you have to clearly define the right product for the target market. The target market is direct airlift. Golfers don't like two stops. Fact. So go for the direct airlift, work out who's there and target them, segment it. Build the product they want. As they say in Ireland, if the dog doesn't like the dog food, he won't eat it. If you build golf courses that they don't like, they won't play them. So you better build golf courses that they like. Trophy headliner, and then match the segment, and then digital media. It's very easy to access. There's probably 4 websites in the world that actually access over 60% of golfers worldwide. So it's not a difficult one to actually access. And then you must, eventually, when you build, you must show it to the world. And you must build it special. Tee times. You must control the tee times. Golfers won't travel. You wouldn't go to a place unless you had your room booked. You might if you're an adventurer, but you normally want a room booked. The golfers will not travel unless they have tee times. So they must, whatever happens in the future, and it's becoming a problem in Antalya, becoming a problem in Spain. Spain and Portugal were built by developers who wanted to sell houses, so they built a golf course, they sold all the houses and they moved out and gave the keys of the golf course to the owners. The owners made a members club and the members didn't want any tourists. So now you have 27 golf courses on the Costa del Sol who the tourists can't play. Problem. So you need to work it out in advance. And then the all-inclusive is the future, if you can do that. And just to finish, I couldn't help more of a personal experience here, but we talk a lot, and this morning there was talk about terrorism and the problems of it and the effect it has. Don't forget how powerful sport and sports tourism and sports events are in terms of reconciliation. Many of you may remember the Nelson Mandela in the 1995 Rugby World Cup, how that brought the whole of apartheid, the country together as a nation, even though the majority of the players were white. It brought the country together. He was smart enough to recognize that. Last year there was problems with terrorism down in the south, but 1 week before the Turkish Airlines Open, Rory McIlroy came to that tournament and all of the other European pros. That was seen by 120 million people in America who were reading the New York Times the day before, saying what a horrible place that must be and all the bombs and the problems, and then they see Rory McIlroy playing golf in Turkey. That's the message that golf does. We were called into Indonesia after the tsunami to try to put on events to try to show people that life goes on with this. And finally, in terms of reconciliation, my little country was fighting for 30 years, from 1969 right for 30 years between the North and the South. And it was a huge divide with the Catholics and the Protestants and social values. And I had the pleasure of orchestrating for the Irish Open, which was one of the main tournaments, to go to the north of Ireland. And I stood on that first tee, the picture at the bottom there with Rory McIlroy. And after 30 years of fighting, nearly 200,000 people came out for the first time together to celebrate their own athletes. They had 3 major champions which came out on the first tee. And I stood there thinking, and I watched the politicians who came, and they looked out at this sea of people for the first time in 30 years, and their mouths just went. They didn't realize this was a happening. This was north of Ireland after 30 years of conflict coming together to celebrate a sports event. They then from that will get the British Open in 2019. That is strategic as part of the Northern Ireland, the UK government. That was a major focus of the whole strategy going forward. And the British Open being celebrated there, the biggest event in the world, will basically close the book on the trouble. That's the final, it's over. So this was a beautiful strategy which I thought I'd share with you. In summary, high yield niche, profitable, recession resistant, low impact growth, less people, more money, drives traffic in the off season, and it's sustainable long term. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carr. I personally was intrigued and interested.